Maniac here, and we're at it again, doing another test video. This series is all about taking individual characters, figuring out how they tick, and breaking down the mechanics, and finding the highest damage possible. So, in the last video, we found that special damage is likely the best way to get Bomby good. Kanak is kind of good out of the box. So, according to King Knob and the community at large, Kanak is S tier, up there with Victoria and Belina. You know, Belina's SA. Oh god, not SA. S/A. So, how do we get Kanak to be the best Kanak he can be? And there's a lot of options. So, we're going to start by breaking down his character. Everything is around Soul Rip. Grants a curse to the target that deals spell damage, 100% spell damage, to enemies with curse stacks. The curse on the target will resonate and deal 74. So what's the percentage of that? So it's 40%. So 40% of the total spell damage will resonate. Will resonate to deal 40% extra spell damage per stack. Max 5 curse stacks on each enemy. You'll notice that 5 is yellow. So let's crack open the wiki. Alright, so even though the number is 5, and often when we see the yellow number, it's a scalable number, it doesn't appear as if that's what's happening. It doesn't appear that's what's happening here. So the stack is 5. So it's spell damage plus 40% of spell damage times 5. So in this case, on the 5th stack, so it would be 74 times 5 plus 186. So we're at 556 damage without anything else happening, okay, per tick. And it's going to stack every time we're able to get this 45 mana up, right? Because it's going to add another stack. So even though when we hit 5, the next stack will just trigger damage. That's my assumption. When Kanak kills an enemy that has curse stacks, transfer the curse stacks to a nearby enemy. Max 4 times. So it's contagious. And 30% damage taken by Kanak from enemies with curse stacks. So it gives him a bit more sustain because he is not very, very thick. Right? So he has 2 awakening abilities. When using Soul Rip on a target with curse stacks, grants 2 curse stacks on each 2 enemies closest to the target. So it makes him even more, it makes him contagious right out of the gate. Okay? So the idea here is attack speed and spell power. There's a lot of different ways we can go about this. It's actually way more straightforward than a lot of the other characters. So the question's going to be, what makes the most sense? So I did an attack speed funny video with him, and to get his attack speed to 7, I believe I got to 7. His DPS was 2.1 mil divided by 15. I got him at 140 DPS. Though with him being S tier, I feel like that's not what people are talking about. I think people are thinking that his damage is out of control, insane. So, I'm going to hit pause. I'll do a little bit of thinking. So I think it comes down to fear or sharpness. Fear or sharpness. So fear is going to be, this is sharpness, will give him 40% additional crit. 40% crit chance. Whereas fear will debuff all the way down. I'm gonna try to guess fear. We'll do fear first, and I'm not gonna mess with the relic. I'll probably do like no relics, fear damage, and then so I think the relics are gonna be kind of obvious. It's gonna be anything that makes spell damage go up. Like that's gonna be it. You know, the legacy is also kind of tough because I feel like maybe you put him with a Bargery. I don't even think that's even fast enough. It might be Sei Young and a Bargery for max DPS. Yeah, man, it might be Fear Set. So let's try that. So we're gonna try Fear Set. I do have a little bit of spell power boosting. We're getting 30% of spell power on Fear Set. Fear Set is going to do additional Menace, final Menace. So, and we're going to be hitting a lot of enemies all at once. So we should be doing a considerable amount of fear debuffing. So we're going to do a no relic fear set, just to find the baseline of damage for fear set. Then we'll try sharpness and see what the DPS differences are. So I'm going to basically speed run. I'm going to skip so you guys don't have to watch it. A normal run with Kanak, and then we'll come back. We'll change the gear, and we'll do a normal run with sharpness set, and we'll just see what the best damage is. All right, so we have a tier 7 Kanak with silver bow, nothing else. A tier 3 Seiyang, a tier 3 Bargery, powering him up, and he has fear set. So we are about to fight our dummies. So our dummies should be being debuffed pretty good. So Kanak did about 1 million damage. Okay. 1.07. Make sure. This is a mil, right? Am I losing my mind? Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, he did 1 million damage. Okay. 1,000,007. So, 0.07. I'm going to write that down because I'm going to forget. 0.07 mil. Fear set. Alright, so we're going to check and return. And let's throw crit on him. I'll pause for that. So our spell power dropped from 30 to 17, and we increased our spell crit chance to 11. That might skew our numbers a tiny, tiny bit. But we do have a spell crit chance of about I would say 51%. Now, I could have the 60% spell power, or I could go for Dagger, which would give us a higher crit chance. Does Dagger also do... I think Dagger also does crit damage as well. So I think we're going to go Dagger if I learn how to use the UI and stop messing around. I do have Shadow Dagger at 38 and 25 crit damage. So I'm going to equip this for the highest possible. Now we lost some spell damage, but we got more crit damage. So we're going to give this a shot, and we're going to test that. We had 1.07 with the fear set there. So I'll do another grind, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Here we are again. Hopefully the same build, except I have an Anji instead. We have Kanak. He is mythic tier, and he is wearing the crit build opposed to the fear set. We are about to deal with this. Let's give it a shot. So you could see that when the blues pop, I believe those are spell crits, and the pink is the physical crits. So we're getting less damage overall. Now that could have been from the spell power decrease, but I really think it's just crit might not be as strong as fear. Yeah, that's. I mean, I don't think 60% spell power would really make 140,000 damage difference. I mean, maybe it would. It's possible. I mean, if we call it about the same, maybe that's the route. But I just don't think crit makes much sense on him. Fear probably makes more sense. He's essentially debuffing. And we got a nice little crash here. All right, we're going to jump back in. We're going to put relics on him and see how high we can get that. All right, so we have put the fear set back on. We are at 23%. And we have a little bit more physical defense and spell defense. Just kind of how it worked out. So we have a little bit of menace here as well. So we're going fear set. We do have 61% spell power. I'm doing apprentice staff. I could do the magic armor. It doesn't make much sense. We're not really going to be building protection in this build, I don't think. So I'm going to just stick with this for now, and we're going to focus on getting the spell power up as high as possible. I was considering splashing in 2 pieces of wind set, but you lose this plus 40% base menace effect against the main target. So that kind of sucks. So now it's going to be about these relics. These relics are going to be super important. My first instinct is to look at this relic here. So this is plus MP recovered upon normal attack. And then we get as amplified skill damage. So that seems like the clear winner. The other thing that we could do, I think that obviously a team of Kanaks makes the most sense. So in order to make up that difference, we'd probably go rapid swords. I'm just kind of guessing here. And the next thing, I just kind of have to focus on getting his attack as high as possible. You could go Relic, but I'm not sure that's the right move either. I don't really have, personally, I don't have a lot of relics that do spell damage that's not Void. Like, I have a decent Void. I don't know if that's the play either. Let me pause and think for a second. So I did have a Rapid with Spell instead of attack speed, so that was a little bit better. We got him to 83. So now I'm just thinking, I'm trying to think of what else I want to build with him to get him to where he needs to be. So I do have a little bit of Blood Altar. I might splash 1 Blood Altar in here just for a little bit of drain. And then we might go full and then Mage for the initial MP and the final spell power. Like, I think that might be the best play. This is going to give us growth. We won't have gold, though, if we do it this way. That's the only thing. Like, we would be really, really screwed on gold unless we did Altar of Blacksmith. One for 2% spell drain, and then final spell power here. Theoretically, he's going to be doing so much damage that 2% spell drain should be enough to keep him alive. This is something that people do in Raid a lot with Hanzis. So I'm going to give that a shot, and I'm still working on what would be the build. I mean, right now, obviously, I'm going to go Kanak Gang. So, I don't want to do anything that builds on... I mean, we could go here. Yeah, maybe we go scope. So that brings me to 111. It might not give me that. I mean, you could do Fear Relic too, right? Let me think. So if I did Corrupt Holy Grail, it does give me an additional 5 phases, and then it gives additional MP to the highest hero, which will always be Kanak. But more importantly, it gives plus 50% MP on kill, and it gives me an additional 4.5 bonus spell power. I mean, final spell power, that's not as good as Fear Relic, though, which would give me 8 final damage per second. It's a tough one. It's a tough call. The only thing I could really do is test, and more test. I think my instinct is Fear Relic. It puts me at 117. So 117 plus accessories plus everything else. So we're at 241% stacked percentage on the 186 spell power. And then those numbers are going to be amplified by a combination of the 80 final damage and a growing 240 final damage. So we're going to run with this, and I'll see you with the training dummies. All right, guys, after a extremely difficult, crazy battle, not really, we are at the testing dummies, and I just went as high, as much damage as I possibly could get out of the gang, and let's just see what Broken Kanak, all spell power that I could possibly get on him in the short run of this video. And so he did 1 million damage without the relics, and million 7 without the relics and all the other gear. So let's see what we are looking at here. Yowza. 10 million. 15 million. 22.6 million damage on one Kanak. Full gang did 26 mil. So there you go, guys. Kanak is S tier. Holy Kanak, right? Holy Kanak. Wow. Wowie. All right. I don't know what to do now. I feel like I need to play this build potentially against Chapter 13. Maybe a different video. But yeah, so Kanak, full fear set, a gang build with Fear Relic and Staff of Ancient Magic. We are doing 15 Blacksmith, 9 Altar, and Altar of Blood 1. Yeah, I'm kind of speechless, guys. All right. Palm Mute Maniac out.